I want to thank you very much. That was extraordinarily informative. Some of the things that I learned is that, well, number one is I failed both Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers. But I keep going back, so obviously they have a good sales program. But right now, if you have some questions, our speaker, Chris Allison, will be happy to respond to any of the questions that you may have generated while he was speaking.
Questions? Any questions?
Is there one in the back? Sandra, did you have one?
Not yet. Okay. I think I'm in trouble.
Yes, we go.
Yes. Yes.
Well, my question to you, Chris, is maybe a little personal, but why are you no longer the CEO of Clarion Communications? Could you tell us a little bit about
Did
you?
Yeah. That's all? No, actually what happened was that I got burned out. I got to, I tell you when I knew that it was time for me to stop, when we did a layoff and it stopped bothering me. And I actually, everything got repetitive for me. And, I didn't feel like I was doing the best service to the shareholders by going in there and kind of going through the motions. And my number two, whose credentials were hopelessly impeccable. I mean, he worked for Bell Labs. He worked in testing. He was ready to go. And I was just fried. I mean, I'd done it for 10 years. I mean, Jane will tell you that she remembers this vividly because when I won my Entrepreneur of the Year award, it was for Jane, right? Because she went through all of my craziness. But I remember one time at the end of 1999, somebody tried buying our company. We were trading at $27 a share. They offered us $32.50, offered us a premium, about $180 million for the business, and that, and it was pretty heavy. I'd been CEO for 5 years at that point. And, in my desk at Tollgrade, I used to call it the Tollgrade Fun Pack, right? In my drawer, which was Pepto-Bismol, Imodium, Preparation H, and Pepsid, okay? Because at any given day, I was going to need one of those products. I mean, if I meet the guy that invented Imodium, I'm going to kiss him on the lips, okay? And it's just like, So, I mean, it's just stress city. I'm choking on a toothbrush every morning, right? I mean, just, because you can make these quarterly estimates, you got to keep feeding that beast, right? So, I got to the point, so it's end of 99, somebody, I'm going to make some money, it's going to be great, and we're sitting on this monster quarter, and they said, you got to sell before the end of the quarter. Well, I thought it wasn't the right decision for the shareholders. I thought we were worth more money. Now, 6 months later, our market cap went from $180 million to $2 billion. So everybody got really healthy. I got a lot of people called in rich. I made a lot of money, and then I went to managing an NBA team. I felt like Phil Jackson or something because I had all these multi-millionaires. It's like, hey, I need you to get that. Yeah, right. So I went through that issue. But when I turned them down and I had to go to my sales meeting, I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was up for 3 days, and it was like the third night, and we're down at Disney having our sales meeting. So Jane says, "Come on, let's take a walk." It's like 2:00 in the morning, and we're on the phony beach, and you're hearing the tide. It's recorded at Disney. It's a lake. There's no tides in lakes, right? Just like when you walk through Epcot, they squirt the smell of French fries. It's not really French fries. It's like we stay at the Wilderness Lodge and go outside and you hear all these crickets. I said, man, you got a lot of crickets. And the guy, the bellman's going. Right? So Jane takes me out to the phony beach. She holds my hand. I fall asleep. Right? So I call the doctor. I'm like, I'm not sleeping. So he gives me all these sleeping pills. And so I get him downstairs. Right? And we had 2 labs. And Jane's making dinner, and she says, "You got to go down. I don't know where Norman is." That's our own dog, Norman. So I go down there, and the bottle is in pieces. And he's like, he ate all sleeping pills. I'm like, oh my God, I killed him, right? So we're taking him over to the vet, and they put the hydrogen peroxide down, so he yerks it up immediately, right? So then, I'm going to get to a point here. So Jane says, we ought to go check the other one, right? So we let the other one out of her cage. She goes into the kitchen, gets up on the chair, up on the table, and starts drinking the soup out of the bowl. And Jane's like, she's tripping. She got some of them too, right? So I'm going through all this stuff for, it was like 10 years. And I just was, if I had to read another telecommunications trade magazine, I thought I was going to vomit. I mean, it just got to be like, I can't do this anymore. And what happened, and it's in my book if you'd like to hear the real story. Now, what happened was I was at the Pirate game, and we used to sit behind the plate, and this guy sits down in front of me, somebody I went to college with. I'm like, I think that's Brian Nejma. So I went down and talked to him. I'd seen him since 1983. We had a tech company. He flipped it. He says, oh, yeah, I couldn't take the stress, so now what I do is I teach, and I consult, and I do some writing, and we're driving home from the ball game, and Jane said, who are you talking to? And I told her the story, and she goes, that sounds really good. And I'm like, tell me about it. Well, I was gone in 6 weeks after that, because we were walking back from church, and Jane said, we're not going to be doing this in 5 years, are we? And she says, no. But the real reason is the board and I got sick of one another, and I was fried, and I had a lot of money. I don't mean to be crass, but I was not motivated. I had no fire in my belly anymore, so I just quit. So quite frankly, and that was 2005, and I think I'm going to live longer as a result. So sorry to make a long story endless. So who else has a question? I saw the question. Yes, sir.
What do you do for a startup business that's looking for backup capital to start?
Very good. The $64,000 question. Where do you get money? Okay. Well, there's in the continuum of a startup, there's different phases of where you can get secure capital. Okay, the first is the 3 Fs: friends, family, and fools. Right, because they're going to invest in you because they love you, and that's kind of at the startup phase. Then you kind of move into what's called seed capital, and one of the sources of seed capital is the Ben Franklin Partnership, for example. And in Pittsburgh it's called Innovation Works, but in Erie it's called Ben Franklin Partnership. And it's money that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania sets aside for startup capital, and they typically make grants anywhere from $150,000 to $400,000. The other source is the Small Business Administration, which was a program set up by President Reagan, where they take a percentage of the budget that's allocated. Like the SBDC here is your tax dollars hard at work. If you want help, go get help from them. That's why they're there, okay? Well, it's called Small Business Innovation Research, and you can get up to $300,000 for an idea, okay? Your likelihood of getting funded at that phase is probably better if they funded something similar. So that's an avenue. The other is what's called angel investors. An angel investor is a term that goes all the way back to the early part of this century, that angel investors were rich people that invested in Broadway musicals. Okay, now the biggest angel investor moron in the history of business was a guy named Harry Frazee, who sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees from the Boston Red Sox to fund one of his shows, hence the curse of the Bambino. Sorry about that. Okay, but now angel investors are high net worth individuals that they want to kind of keep active, right? And they're typically what's called qualified investors, meaning that they need a net worth of over $1 million. But most of those types of investors, they want to help you, and they want to put some money to work. Okay, and there's networks of them. For example, in Pittsburgh, it's called Blue Tree Allied Partners. There's an angel network. Then you move into venture capitalists. Venture capital, they're private equity firms that they invest in startups. Now, they're looking for a $500 to $1 billion addressable market. And the reason is because venture capitalists, I believe, 90+% of their returns are generated by 8% of their investments, meaning that they only hit on 1 out of 10 of them big. Like, so they hit on 1, 2 of them they probably hit big on, right? They probably got 6 that are Walking Dead, and then they got a couple that are just lost and they don't even mess with them. Okay, so their batting average, they hit some singles, but they only hit 1 home run for every 10 investments they make. So, and then you get all the way to the end and you've got the public markets, which is doing an IPO. So, startup phase is kind of friends and family, angels, seed capital. Like if you just Googled seed funds in Pennsylvania, a big list of them is going to come up. right? And you put a business plan together, 10 slides, problem, solution, addressable market, competition, boom, boom, boom. You go in and make a pitch. All you really need to do is do an executive summary and a pitch, because nobody reads business plans. Okay, the executive summary gets you the meeting, the pitch, right? If they say, I'm going to give you half an hour, and you're in there an hour and a half, you're good. And if they start calling you stupid, you're really good, because they've negotiated already. Like if you go in there and pitch and they start calling you stupid about an hour into it, you're in great shape, because they're just trying to devalue the investment so they can get a bigger piece of it, okay? So you got that, venture capital. So there's a continuum. There's money available. Now, and then there's what's called SBA loans. That's a Small Business Administration. Those are loans that banks give, but they're backed by the government. But the problem is you have to have kind of a going concern to do that. So there's a lot of different areas to do that. It's probably a longer answer than what you're interested in. So who else has a question? These are good questions. Yes.
As the CEO, when you were looking for new workers,
Yes.
what defines to you the best profile of good potential workers?
Okay, very good.
Given that they're heading to the job market.
Okay.
What makes a good candidate?
Well, do you work in career services? Or are you just?
Do I work in
Yeah.
customer service?
Yeah. You try to.
Maybe they wish.
Okay, great. Well, you're like me. You're probably one of the professors that tries to help the students get jobs, which is I spend a lot of my time at Allegheny doing that, is trying to get employment. First of all, if there is a typo on your letter, your cover letter or your resume, it goes in the trash. Not kidding. Okay, when I hired people, if somebody was an Eagle Scout, they always got an interview, too, by the way. Do I have any Eagle Scouts in the audience? Right, you would get an interview at my company. Okay, now we hired a lot of ex-military, quite frankly. We hired a lot of Naval Academy graduates because, kind of what I looked at is it's kind of I hire smart, and I figure I can teach them, right? So, or Chuck Noll used to call draft the best available athlete. Okay, so what I'm looking for, particularly in folks in your position, is somebody to keep a lot of balls in the air. Okay, meaning that, I'm looking at the whole person. First of all, do you go to class? Go to class, guys. You're spending a lot of money. Every time you walk in that room, you're probably dropping $100. I mean, just do the math. Take your tuition, divide it by the courses, and how many times you get together. You're probably dropping $100 every time you walk in there, right? Like I gave an orientation of freshmen at Allegheny, and I wanted to do this, but I know Jane would kill me if I did it. I was going to light $200 bills on fire in front of them, because you'd remember that if somebody did that, right? And say, that's what you guys are doing when you blow off class. Okay, so I want to see if you're engaged, right? I want to see if you've done extracurricular activities. I want to see if you've given back to the community, and from a volunteerism standpoint. I want to see internships. I mean, you guys should walk out of here with 2-3 internships. What's your biggest liability as a prospective employee? And it's not your fault. It's your age and your experience. So give yourself some experience. And talk to somebody about starting and finishing a project. Right? Or if you're doing research projects, I mean, one of the programs we see these wonderful projects that the students do. If you're interested in a specific industry, work on something that's relevant to an industry that you're in, and go in there and talk to somebody about it. And the biggest thing is do some research in terms of what my company does. And don't, like when I say, do you have any questions, don't ask me how much vacation you get. Do you match on your 401k? Don't ask me that question. Ask me something strategic about business, because all I'm looking for is did you care enough, and look professional. Right, guys, like I shaved the beard. Right, like I had one of my favorite students last year. He actually played basketball for St. A's, Bob Hurley, right? In Newark. He came from a really tough background. And as I teach a course called Financial Literacy, which is the basics of investing, so my first class I say, okay guys, we're going to check out, see what you know. So I'm throwing out these financial terms, and I try and get more and more esoteric the deeper we get in the class. So there's this kid in the back. His name's Devon. I didn't know what his name was at the time. He keeps raising his hand. I said, can I talk to you after class? I'm like, how'd you know all this stuff? He goes, I didn't have anything to do last summer, so I studied finance books. Right? It wasn't playing World of Warcraft, guys. Okay? Studying finance books, right? So he's one of my favorite students. He was, wicked smart. And so anyways, he said, I got an interview with KeyBank. He said, he had a nicely trimmed beard. He was a point guard in the Allegheny team. He was a great athlete. And nice guy. He says, so what do you think I ought to do with my beard? And I said, D, you know the answer to that question. You're just looking for validation, right? He goes, it's coming off. I said, yeah. So then he calls me up and he goes, well, what kind of tie should I wear? So I'm trying to explain. I said, just meet me tomorrow. So I go to Brooks Brothers and give him some ties, right? So he comes back. He goes, I got the job, right? He says, because you told me I shaved my beard and wore the tie you gave me. I said, no, it wasn't. It's because last summer you read finance books, right? Started at $60,000, coming from a really bad upbringing, right? His brother played for Duke, played in the NBA, blew all his money. His parents are having him give him loans while he's in college, right? Really tough background. $60,000, right? Because he made some extra effort. And he showed the people that were in there that he cared. What they're looking for is to see if you care. And here's the other thing. Don't try and game the questions. Like, just be yourself. Like, there's all these books out there. When they ask you this, they're trying to find out this. No, they're not. Right? Just be honest. Be yourself. You guys got a lot of good stuff to talk about. And the other thing is be selfish. Look people in the eye. If you got tats, cover them up. Guys, don't wear earrings. You can be weird on the weekends, not when you're trying to get a job. Okay? Okay, so that's kind of, but I look for somebody who has a sense of humor, right? Somebody's balanced, somebody's relaxed, right? But we hired for my sales team, I hired a lot of people right out of the fleet, Naval Academy graduates. I had one guy who was a Marine, and I gave him this really tough customer, and I said, sorry, man, that guy's, he's wicked. He goes, what are you talking about? As long as it ain't live ammunition, I'm figuring it's a good day. And this guy was, so. Who else has a question? That's a question. Yes, sir.
Education or experience?
Yes. Now, the question was, what's more important, education or experience? This is the best investment you guys will make in your life. If you look at the statistics, people that have a 4-year degree, people that don't have a 4-year degree. Let me tell you a story, and Jane knows the story I'm going to tell you. There's a girl in our neighborhood. Family owns a restaurant. She had a lot of capability. And we said, look, we're real good friends with the family. They own a restaurant. And we said, we want you to go to college. So we said, look, go to Clarion. We'll pay. We'll buy. It's on us. Right? So she's here a year. 3.0. Does pretty good. Right? And she goes to Pitt. She goes, I want to go to Pitt. And it's all right. It's like, what are you talking about? They got to do there's new buildings all over the place in Clarion, right? So then we said, look, here's the deal, though. You got to keep it B average. We're going to keep paying, right? So then we get this phone call. I want to come down and talk to you, right? And so she comes down, talk to us. She goes, college isn't for me, right? So I give her my 5-moment speech. Right? Which is also in the book, by the way. Okay. So, because I'm a big believer in 5 moments. I believe that there's 5 moments in your life that dictate how all of it's going to go. And if you're lucky, you can control a couple of those. Like some of my moments were when I was working construction for my dad, and I was running an air hammer, and we ran out of gas. Because my dad had heavy construction. I didn't have a real good eye, so he let me destroy things, right? I used to run the air hammer and dig out the holes. His business was a heavy construction company. When the gas company fixed a leak, they left a hole. We went in, we cut around it, dug it out, put new concrete, asphalt, fix it, look brand new. That was his business, fixing holes in the street. So I'm on the street cutting, I'm hammering this thing, right? And ran out of gas. And I'm with the guy, and the guy says, come on, we got to fill it up, we got to get this thing done. So we don't have a nozzle on the gas can, we got a funnel. So he said, well, let's just do it this way. And the rest was history. So I'm on fire from here down, and the other guy's on fire from here down, and it's not going out. All right, I'm rolling around, and it ain't going out. But luckily, we were doing the work across the street from a hardware store that had fire extinguishers on sale. The guy comes over the counter, grabs a fire extinguisher, puts it out. If that guy wasn't there, I wouldn't be standing here, right? That's one of my moments, or when I met Jane, right? or when we found out that her cancer hadn't spread, right? That's one of my moments, okay? And I said to Danina, I said, look, or Martina, that was her name, I said, look, you're going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to be 50, and you're going to wonder what the hell happened to you. Well, she would have been 5 years graduated from Clarion, and she's a waitress, right? Versus average starting salary for first-year colleges students has been $35,000 to $60,000 a year, right? And what's going to differentiate the $35,000 from the $50,000 is how you present yourself, your internships, right? But that's one of the moments. This is the best investment that you're ever going to make in your life, right? What enabled me to do the things that I wanted to do, I think, was a function of my college education. Because I went to a small liberal arts college, and basically what they, I tell people I was an English major, history minor. I was perfectly prepared for employment in the 12th century. Right? You want me to analyze some poetry? I'm your guy. When I talk about Shakespeare, I'm in. Right? They don't pay money to do that. Right? But so I worked in the public relations industry because I like to write. And my dad calls me up one day, and he says, "Are you tired of making money for other people?" Because I was billing $300,000 a year. They were paying me $27,500. Something's wrong with the math in that equation. I was working like 60, 70 hours a week. My dad said, come with this company. So I go work with the company, and all the founders, they lost heart. They disappeared. Literally, my dad calls me up and goes, you got to run toll grade. I got to do my other business. So first thing I did was go into the library, and I took out management books. I taught myself how to be a CEO. It's because I learned how to learn. That's what you guys are learning. There's no job that you guys are going to do that the courses you take are exactly going to prepare you for that. Right? But what you guys know how to do is learn. Like when you're doing your interviews, be aware. Read the newspaper. Know what's going on. Know why the budget fight was so serious. Know what the debt ceiling is. Know what average return on investment is. Know what's going on in the world. Be a person of the world. Present yourself that way. And that's what you learn how to do here. It's the best investment you can. But you need both. You need experiential learning opportunities. Right? Learning by doing. I think, this is very unusual. When I teach my classes, I walk in there with 100 questions and I drill my students. I don't usually empty my lungs like this. It's usually the other way around. Right? They're expected to cover the material, and we have a discussion about it. But that's what you should do. So the answer is actually both. But you got to get your degree. You got to get your degree. You got to get your graduate degree. Right? Who else has questions? Who wants to go to dinner? It's late. You guys are getting hungry? Everyone's getting restless? Okay, now remember, the code word is, I'm not wearing any underwear. Okay? All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. I have a little gift for you.
Oh!